The Biscuit Showdown, Rise of the Dough Divas, written by Reuben White. In the heart of Sweetwater, where gossip swirled like cream in coffee and tea flowed as freely as the Mississippi, there brewed a feud of epic proportions. It wasn't just any old squabble over picket fences, or whose hound dog chased the most tails. No, this feud was as southern as sweet tea on a hot summer's day, and it centered around a question as old as time itself: who baked the best buttermilk biscuits in all of Sweetwater? At the heart of this culinary conflict stood two formidable foes, Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White. They were as different as grits and gravy, yet shared a bond thicker than molasses in January. Their rivalry wasn't just a matter of taste, it was a clash of wills, a battle of butter versus batter, and it had the entire town of Sweetwater buzzing like bees in a honeysuckle patch. Miss Billie Jean, with her hair as fiery as a skillet sizzling with bacon grease, and Miss Lily White, with her prim demeanor and oven hotter than the devil's kitchen, locked horns like two stubborn goats on a narrow bridge. Each swore by her secret recipe, guarded tighter than a tick on a hound dog's backside, and neither was willing to admit defeat. But when whispers of a Great Biscuit Bake-Off began to circulate through the town like wildfire, the feud reached a boiling point. The townsfolk, tired of the constant bickering and craving a taste of peace, decided it was time to settle the score once and for all. And so, the stage was set for the culinary clash of the century, a showdown that would make the Battle of Bull Run look like a tea party in comparison. As the sun rose over Sweetwater on the morning of the bake-off, the air crackled with anticipation. The town square buzzed with activity as vendors set up stalls, musicians tuned their banjos, and the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the promise of buttermilk biscuits wafting from Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White's kitchens. The protagonists, Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White, stood on opposite ends of the square, eyeing each other like prize-fighters sizing up their opponent in the ring. With their sleeves rolled up and their apron strings tied tight, they were ready for battle, a battle that would be fought not with swords or muskets, but with flour, butter, and a pinch of southern charm. The tension hung thick in the air as the clock struck high noon, signaling the start of the bake-off. With a flick of their wrists and a twinkle in their eyes, Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White set to work, their hands moving like lightning as they kneaded dough, rolled biscuits, and worked their magic over sizzling skillets. But as the hours passed and the heat of the competition intensified, so too did the chaos. Dough flew like confetti, flour coated the square like a fresh blanket of snow, and the aroma of burning biscuits filled the air like smoke from a chimney. Meanwhile, the townsfolk watched from the sidelines, their hearts torn between loyalty to their favorite diva and the fear of suffering through another rubbery or rock-hard biscuit. Some cheered for Miss Billie Jean, the fiery redhead with a flair for drama, while others rooted for Miss Lily White, the prim and proper matron with a knack for perfection. But as the bake-off reached its climax and the final batches emerged from the ovens, something miraculous happened. The biscuits, golden brown and fluffy as clouds, were perfectly imperfect, that is. They were a testament to the spirit of Sweetwater, where imperfection was celebrated as much as success and laughter echoed louder than any victory cry. In that moment, as the townsfolk gathered round to taste the fruits of their labor, Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White shared a glance that spoke volumes, that said more than words ever could. And in that glance, they saw not enemies, but kindred spirits bound by a love for biscuits and a shared history as rich and layered as the dough they kneaded. With a smile as wide as the Mississippi, Miss Billie Jean extended a hand to Miss Lily White, and in a gesture as sweet as sugar, they embraced a flower-covered embrace that spoke of forgiveness, of understanding, of a friendship reborn from the ashes of rivalry. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars blinked overhead, the people of Sweetwater gathered round to celebrate a celebration of friendship, of laughter, and the unbreakable bond forged in the fires of flour. For in the end, they knew that it wasn't the biscuits that mattered, but the love that went into baking them, the love that brought them together, one biscuit at a time. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars blinked overhead, the people of Sweetwater gathered around to celebrate, a celebration of friendship, of laughter, and of the unbreakable bond forged in the fires of flour. The aroma of freshly baked biscuits mingled with the sound of laughter and joy, creating an atmosphere of warmth and togetherness that filled the town square. Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White, once bitter rivals, stood side by side, their arms linked in a gesture of camaraderie that seemed to defy all odds. Their faces were lit up with smiles as bright as the moonlight, their laughter echoing through the night like a chorus of crickets. The townsfolk cheered and applauded, their hearts overflowing with happiness at the sight of their two beloved divas setting aside their differences and embracing the spirit of friendship. It was a moment of pure magic, a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. But as the festivities continued late into the night, a mischievous glint appeared in Miss Billie Jean's eye, a glint that spelled trouble for the unsuspecting residents of Sweetwater. With a sly grin, she leaned in close to Miss Lily White and whispered something in her ear, a secret plan concocted in the heat of the moment. Miss Lily White's eyes widened in surprise, but then a mischievous smile spread across her face, a smile that matched Miss Billie Jean's own. Together, they shared a knowing look, their laughter bubbling up like a pot of stew on a stove. Little did the townsfolk know, the Great Biscuit Bake-Off was just the beginning of their culinary adventures. With a newfound friendship and a shared love for baking, Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White embarked on a series of hilarious escapades that would keep the town of Sweetwater entertained for years to come. From wacky experiments in the kitchen to uproarious mishaps at the county fair, their antics knew no bounds. They became the talk of the town, their names spoken with equal parts awe and amusement by everyone from the mayor to the milkman. But through it all, one thing remained constant: their friendship, forged in flour and sealed with laughter. They may have started as rivals, but they ended up as partners in crime, their bond stronger than the toughest biscuit dough. And so, as the stars twinkled overhead and the night air filled with the scent of freshly baked biscuits, the people of Sweetwater knew that their town would never be the same again. For in the heart of Sweetwater, where gossip flowed as freely as the tea, two unlikely friends had found each other, and together, they had baked up a recipe for laughter, love, and a whole lot of mischief. And as the laughter echoed through the night, mingling with the chorus of crickets and the rustle of the wind in the trees, the people of Sweetwater knew that they were witnessing something truly special, a friendship as timeless and enduring as the southern sky itself. And so, the tale of Miss Billie Jean and Miss Lily White, the dough divas of Sweetwater, came to be a story of rivalry turned friendship, of laughter turned love, and of biscuits that brought a town together in ways they never could have imagined. For in the end, it wasn't the biscuits that mattered, it was the bond that they shared, a bond as sweet and satisfying as a warm batch of buttermilk biscuits fresh from the oven. And in Sweetwater, where gossip flowed as freely as tea, that was all that truly mattered. If you are enjoying the Wisdom Within channel, feel free to hit the subscribe, follow, or like buttons for future posts and updates.